morning and welcome to Weekends with Whitney. We begin this morning's show in St. Francisville on the beautiful, breathtaking grounds of Hemingbough. This gazebo is just one of the incredible structures created by owner Arlin Dease. Discover why he created this, not for himself, but everyone else, and who's really behind its majesty and mystique. Then, meet the magical, whimsical creations of Clay Achee. How this Catholic high graduate followed his unconventional dream to become one of the few people producing puppets in the country. Plus, Dr. Nick helps us put the brakes on road rage. But first, Hemingbough, a place that brings out the best in everyone. Just a quarter mile off busy Highway 61 in St. Francisville awaits tranquility. Beauty. Balance. Serenity. And nature in all its majesty. This is Hemingbough. It's the pinnacle of owner Arlin Dease's life's work and passion. It's where Spanish moss dances with the wind. Sun, leaves, and sky compose a kaleidoscope of illusion. Peacocks pose when perched. It's an oasis for soul and spirit.
Hemingbough is a state of mind. When guests arrive, there's this slight altering that I see of oneself.
Here you can find yourself, be yourself, and connect with something greater than yourself.
It was something that I knew that God wanted me to do and spoke to my heart to do it. Provide a place that anyone and everyone can come as they need it to experience the unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness that comes from above. That's what Hemingbough is all about.
It's not a place reserved for the powerful and the privileged. It's for all.
It's for everyone, Whitney. It's for everyone, because that's exactly what God loves all of us as we are.
You can spend the night here in cottages, the guest house, or you can just come and enjoy. These gates never close.
Word tap root. This is the tap root. This Hemingbough is not Arlin Dease. Hemingbough speaks for itself. No one has to be here to welcome you. And on a Sunday, the gates are always open. Drive through, come down here to the amphitheater, look at the lake, go down to the Greek Revival gazebo, and just enjoy.
It's all here to enjoy because of Arlin's discipline and decisions after college. His degree was in art education and interior design. So his first job might surprise you. Flowerland, a nursery on Perkins Road.
Let me tell you what my salary was.
Okay.
$78 a week and 2% of everything that I sold.
He was frugal, living only on his salary and saving his 2% commission. Money he bought his first house with. A few years later, in a sheriff's sale, he bought another, the Myrtles Plantation. It was in shambles, but he saw its potential and restored it himself.
That was the beginning of a career.
You knew it was your passion?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It felt right with the history and the beauty and the presentation of that house.
He soon became one of the South's leading restoration and preservation specialists, resurrecting Mount Hope, Millbank, and Nottoway.
Nottoway being just absolutely the ultimate of anyone's dreams as far as a restoration.
Selling it was dreamy too. He made millions. It's still humbling.
There's two things that God can do. He can humble you through upheavals and tragedies in your life, but He can also humble you through abundance of God's love and God's grace and plenty. So I was very humbled at the fact of this money's from Nottoway.
He asked only one how to spend it.
And I simply asked God, what would you have me to do with this money? And Whitney, as clearly as you and I are sitting here, God spoke to my heart and mind and said, provide a place that anyone and everyone can come as they need it to experience my unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness. That's what Hemingbough is all about.
This is not a restored plantation like his previous properties.
Many years ago, this was called Bikini Beach. And if any of you viewers are out there that are old enough to remember Bikini Beach, we've got to be sort of vintage. And then it was Audubon Lakes Campground. And I bought the campground and 4 other purchases to get 238 acres that is completely surrounded by Alexander Creek.
It's also here James Audubon drew many of his birds of America.
The old Bayou Sarah roadbed that he would walk from Oakley to Bayou Sarah runs right through the 119 acres on the other side of the lake. So that's special, special.
Everything here he built from the ground up. Drawn together in Greek revival style, Hemingbough feels older than it is.
Whitney, I truly am the oldest thing here. This amphitheater that we're sitting in now, you know, maybe because of deferred maintenance, but it's only 29 years old. Okay, and then the guest house and then the other buildings. And I've designed those buildings and laid out the gardens, and yeah, just a real special place.
Especially to the thousands who've married here or come on retreat. Concerts are a big hit here too. But Arlin's favorite event is Easter morning. This year they celebrate their 30th Easter sunrise service. Everyone's invited.
It's interdenominational. You can come in your flip-flops, you can come in your, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Just come at 7 o'clock. The message this year, which is so spectacular, is Chris Andrews. Chris delivers a message of God's love and God's grace Easter morning. There was nothing but good news. There was no bad news the first Easter. The news was that He has risen. He lives within us. He's here. Even though that was 2,000 years ago, it's as real today as it was that first Easter morning.
If you would like to join in the Easter sunrise service, it starts at 7 a.m., but probably you need to arrive around 6:30 just to make sure you don't get caught up in any traffic. And still to come. Speaking of traffic, Dr. Nick has some great ways to steer clear of road rage. Plus, we take you into a world of imagination as Weekends with Whitney continues. Breck Summer Camp, your child's next adventure.
Where I made my first big splash!
Where I made the last shape.
Where I saw animals from all around the world. Where I traveled back in time. Where I caught my first glimpse of the stars.
Where I hit my first home run.
Where I learned to ride. Where I learned how to paddle.
So register for Breck Summer Camps starting March 25th and help your child build memories that will last a lifetime. Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. We take you now into a world of imagination.
Hold your breath. Make a wish. Count to 3. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination.
100 bolts of fabric, 2 sewing machines, and 1 imaginative mind join seamlessly at Clay Achee's fingertips. What emerges is this: spirited, whimsical creatures that come to life with the touch of a hand.
Jim Henson was the only childhood hero that I had that I couldn't emulate as a kid. So like if I wanted to be like Walt Disney, I could draw. If I wanted to be like Chuck Berry, I learned to play a little guitar. I like music, you know. Mark Twain, I can read and write. I learned to read and write. But with Jim Henson, there was never a bridge to what he did until YouTube. So as an adult, I finally said, you know, I can figure out how to do this, I bet.
5 years ago, when he turned 30, Clay did figure it out, although he had no idea how to sew.
No.
You never took home ec?
So, no. No, I went to Catholic High. They did not offer home ec.
Even in high school, Clay didn't conform to the norm.
But you've got to be one of the most unique people out of your class, too.
Yeah, I give Catholic High a lot of credit for that, in that I could have been a massive weirdo. I could have gone through hell in high school, and I didn't. The teachers and the staff were super supportive and even encouraging. I got to be art club president, and the other guys did not understand. It was a little odd, but they were all super. I mean, I painted the backdrops for the dance photos. I drew the T-shirt for the swim team. You know, like they made me useful. Oh. You know, and so I never felt this the sort of
weird
outcast,
artsy kid.
Yeah, weird artsy kid thing until I went to art school.
The acclaimed Savannah College of Art and Design.
Then everybody was trying to out-weird each other, and I was like not trying, and so then I stuck out like a sore thumb. So, but yeah, it was weird being maybe the weirdest, going from being the weirdest person in a very conservative place to the most normal person in a very weird place.
He majored in film, then worked in the movie industry. It would be years before the puppets came along, but when they did, his two passions would collide.
I was working in the film industry, which I very much enjoyed, but I was an artist and I missed working with my hands. And so that's something film sort of takes away from you, is like you're crafting something with your hands. And so teaching myself to sew and sewing the puppets was a large part of me just trying to get back to like using my hands again. And then once you make a bunch of them and they start turning out good, then the problem is you've just got a bunch of creepy puppets hanging out and you have to do something with them.
Instead of doing live puppet shows, he filmed them.
That's also something Jim Henson sort of gave us. He was the first one to think of the television, the screen, as the puppet stage, right? So that you didn't need a puppet stage inside of a television. The television was the puppet stage. And so I always appreciated sort of that advancement in the art. And so when I started filming them, largely it was just you threw a bed sheet up on the wall as a backdrop and made them lip sync to music. Just to do something with them, to do something with them. And then those turned out okay, those were entertaining. So then we started calling friends to help so that we could have more than one puppet in a shot at the same time. And then I built a set in our spare room.
That advanced to making music videos with local band Pacifico.
That was our first foray into something that was like, hey, professional. This looks like we know what we're doing, which was nice.
Then Clay met Barton Gilly, a local guy with a gift in animatronics.
Like, well, I wasn't gonna do it. I don't really know how to do animatronics. And he was like, no, I don't know how to do it. I wasn't gonna do it. I don't know how to like make movies. And like, we were like, oh, we're the missing pieces for each other.
They gathered their pieces, made a short film together, and entered into a contest with the Jim Henson Company. Their Puppetronics were revolutionary and won them a trip to Los Angeles.
Worrying never did no one no good, no harm.
We got to go out to LA and tour the studio, the whole nine yards.
Come on.
It was like the trip of a lifetime.
While there, they met the small circle of other people doing innovative things in the puppet world.
We saw the other contestants, and we were like, we're the weird people who do this in Baton Rouge. They're like, oh, hey, we're the weird people who do this in Denver. And those are the weird people that do this in Toronto. And like, you were sort of able to go, oh, cool, they're out there. Like, there's a community of people that do this. And so the unexpected thing, so there's a lot of wonderful expected things when you go to your hero's, home base. There's lots of wonderful things. We saw an original Oscar the Grouch. It was amazing, So like, there's lots of wonderful things, but the really unexpected thing was the other contestants and the camaraderie that got formed.
Even though Clay's blazing new trails with new puppet technology, he's not abandoning those puppets he makes without wires and remote controls. Like this one of his very first.
It was like keep him around. But, this was just remnants fur that I found at the fabric store in town. And you can get great deals when they get to the end of those rolls. But you can kind of just, you see they come with a dowel. And there's certain movements I like that they're very prim and proper and they prune themselves. It's hard taking care of all of this hair.
Speaking of hair,
You're just beautiful.
Oh God! Oh God! Too fast.
Bad hair day?
Yeah, every day is a bad hair day.
Don't I know?
What's a girl to do?
Your eyes are a little bulging.
Yeah, no, well,
I love it. It's ping pong.
It's ping. It's a half a ping pong ball, and then her eyes were actually made to Velcro on and off, which they're usually stuck down really, really good. But hers were made to Velcro on and off because we realized that if you make the puppets kiss and their eyes are wide open, that it's creepy. And so we had to have replaceable eyes so they could have their eyes closed when they kissed.
So where do you get your ideas for what your monsters are going to look like?
The monsters are like my favorite thing ever because they make themselves, and that's the idea, is that there's a sort of pattern that you're following when you're creating the puppets. And all the monsters follow about the same pattern, but depending on the fur you use, the placement of the eyes is a huge part of character building, and then teeth and horns and fingernails and ears. Like all of those details can be sort of swapped out in any number of combinations so that every monster is its own unique. I've never made the same monster twice, even if it's made out of the same fur or anything like that. They can be their own unique creation, so that every time somebody brings home a monster, that it's one of a kind.
Do you have a favorite? And is it here?
No.
You really, you haven't completely fallen in love with it?
No. In fact, people always ask me what the monsters' names are, and I always say naming a monster you're going to sell is like naming a chicken you're going to eat for dinner. There's like weird attachment issues that happen. I don't do it.
10-year-old Fletcher Garcia is still trying to decide on a name for his new puppet. He worked for months to buy his puppet from Clay.
I got a green one.
Why green?
Because it just like, out of all of them, it just like, pick me.
Clay's puppets are wildly popular. Eyes light up with excitement, anticipation, and delight. Old and young alike.
Teachers, child psychologists, and grandparents trying to spoil their grandchildren are my bread and butter right now. They've done wonderful things for me.
Clay shares his love of puppets, not only here, but everywhere.
I'm trying to be very visible out in the community, and I did workshops, summer camp workshops with the Arts Council with kids. A couple of dozen kids that if they see me in the street go, "Puppet guy!" And I love it. I love that I'm the puppet guy.
So much, in fact, he's a volunteer DJ Monday through Friday on Baton Rouge Community Radio, WHYR.
The best FM dial has to offer. You're the smartest people in Baton Rouge because you got your radio tuned right. I'm DJ Clay. Coming now, Cheap Trick.
What he dreams of doing next is combining his puppets with music in a TV show.
Trying to do next is get funding so that I can shoot a pilot episode of a kids show that I want to do about music. And there's still a big hole for kids content, smart content that treats kids with intelligence. And I'm trying to create the show that I wish had existed when I was a kid.
Oh,
this is the show I would have watched. Hopefully, in a dream world, I would be bringing a television show to Baton Rouge to be shot, which is really cool because then, movies come and go. But if you get a TV series that lands here, then you got, 20 to 50 people that have long-term jobs that are all my friends in the industry. And, that would be the best thing ever.
Like Clay's creativity and ingenuity, the path and possibilities are endless.
The rabbit hole went way deeper than I thought. When Alice fell into the rabbit hole, she was surprised at how far it went. And as was I. I didn't think I would end up here trying to do such complicated things, but it's been a blast.
If you would like to see Clay and his puppets in person, you can find them both the first Saturday of every month in downtown Baton Rouge at the Arts Market from 8 to noon. And still to come, Dr. Nick has some timely advice on how to steer clear of road rage as Weekends with Whitney continues.
Maggio, the only way to go. Maggio Buick GMC, your satisfaction's our specialty. We really deliver on Falls River here in New Roads. Small town atmosphere, legendary service for over 60 years. Maggio, the only way to go. The only way to go, that's Maggio.
9-time winner of the prestigious Buick GMC Mark of Excellence Award. It is not your imagination. We have some of the worst traffic in the country. A recent survey says we are the 3rd worst for a mid-sized city. Dr. Nick joins us with that. That's a new topic for us, but it ties into something else.
I'm sorry for laughing, but it's. We were talking about this earlier, and we were saying, that survey I think was 2015. It's probably may have gone up to seconds.
You're right. It feels like it.
We have some serious traffic issues. Anybody will tell you, stay off the road Friday afternoon. Stay off the road anytime between 4 and 7 in the early morning traffic.
Yes, and after 9. I always call traffic between 9 and 10:30 the magical hour and a half. That's where you need to go.
It's the magical. But what?
But it leads to road rage sometimes, which is really one of the many things we're going to talk about.
We were really going to talk about it. I think it's a fair thing to talk about in terms of traffic, and that is road rage. Because, people have it, and I just wanted to make sure that we're clear. Road rage technically is intermittent explosive disorder.
Okay.
Intermittent explosive disorder. When you blow up unexpectedly over something that's usually pretty minor. So you're in a traffic jam, you know, you're not going anywhere, or somebody jumps out in front of you would even be better. Right. And you ram that steering wheel and you're ready to shoot all sorts of hand gestures. But then a few minutes later, you're fine. It's intermittent explosive disorder. It comes on. And it comes on. And I don't want to minimize intermittent explosive behavior, because it's really a disorder. I mean, it's very serious. You know, let's say at home, you know, all of a sudden you just blow over nothing.
Oh, right.
Or just because something's out of place, and then you're fine a few minutes later. That's pretty sick behavior. But when it comes to road rage, we forget that that's really what it is.
Mm-hmm. But you say you don't have it.
Whitney, I have a lot of issues, but I don't typically have road rage. I don't. I think I go by some of the tricks of that trade. I am pretty good at thinking, okay, how much time do I need to get there? And just the other night, had that experience when I was supposed to meet y'all somewhere, and I forgot what time of day it was. That it was a 4:30 in the afternoon. So I slipped, and that's where I think we have to work at. Okay, let's time this. Always have the right music or something to listen to. We have to kind of be aware of what we're going to be facing. I don't know what to say about the person that's behind you honking, you know, ceaselessly and right on the tail. That's even to me a more serious issue.
You know, a woman did that to me on I-10 one time, right between Bluebonnet and Segan, and traffic was horrible. Everyone was going
horrible, 5
to 10 miles an hour. It was stop, start, stop. And she just kept laying on her horn and giving me ugly gestures and then cutting different people off. She was like this white Mercedes, and I thought, what's wrong with you? Like, nobody's going anywhere. We're all doing the best that we can. And let's just say that
you were not happy.
I was not happy, and that's probably the closest thing to road rage that I've gotten. And I was just so angry with her for putting everyone's lives in danger. So traffic came to a halt, and I got out of my car and I screamed at her.
You
did?
What
is the problem?
Oh, I thought you eventually said you pulled over.
I did
and
eventually.
Let her go.
No,
okay.
And she just started mouthing off, so I pulled off, and I thought, well, we'll just continue this conversation on the side of the road. But she just went on. You know, a lot of those people are cowards, right?
But what's interesting about that, you know, I think that road rage is really a very passive aggressive, because, you know, you're really just screaming at someone, but it's very passive. You getting out of the car and saying, come on, lady, bring it on. That's not really passive.
Yeah, no, it's not passive.
And I'm not suggesting to our viewers that that's a better way, but it does distinguish the passive versus the active. But Whitney, let me just.
But look, it was a woman, but I'm just glad she didn't have a gun or something, because we know what happened.
Exactly.
That was really stupid on my part.
Exactly.
I haven't done it since.
and without demeaning your response, which I do understand the frustration, we don't know what was on her mind. We don't know where she was going. We don't know who she was struggling with.
And
remember,
that's
we talked about this before, assigning a blame or assigning reasoning, remember? Mm-hmm. And we said, be careful about that, because we don't know what they're going through.
And honestly, that's what I was going to ask her when I pulled over on the side of the road. I was going to say, what is wrong with you? Because none of us are going anywhere. Do I need to get you a helicopter? I mean, is it that bad?
Well, now that's kind of powerful, again, when we can do that, but I would be hesitant in this age of violence. We just don't know where that's going to go.
Oh, no, it was really dumb on my part. It was a couple years ago.
Yeah, and then you have to kind of sit back and say, is it worth it?
How do we manage road rage? I mean, some people have it more than others. My husband will scream behind the wheel of the car and at every driver, and really one of the nicest, most passive people that you ever know, but gets behind the wheel and traffic makes him crazy.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, it makes all of us in the car nuts.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Is it a control issue? Because I think, you know, when we're in that kind of traffic, we lose complete control.
We are out of control.
And it's uncomfortable.
We are out of control. And I also think that it's an opportunity to release a lot of other stress that we've had that day that we weren't able to release. Explosions, I don't particularly care to be around a lot of people that are explosive. So we do need to kind of call it out sometimes and say, you know, this is really not good for anybody in the car, because we're all feeling the energy.
Yeah, good point. More Weekends with Whitney after this.
One foot on the brake and one on the gas. 55.
Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday with us here on Weekends with Whitney. I hope you have a beautiful Palm Sunday and a wonderful Easter. Hope to see you back here again next week. Until then, we leave you with this.
I kissed her and she kissed me. Like the fella once said, ain't that a kick in the head? The room was completely black.